We've created our PDF portfolio. We've brought in the files and folders that we want to include in our project, and now we've customized the appearance with a color scheme and a background image. It's time to add the finishing touches. We're working with the file customizedappearance.pdf, which is located in the Portfolios subfolder of the Chapter 8 working files. If you've been following along, this is where we left off in the last video. One of the things we can do is to add our own custom header for this portfolio. If we look here in the Tools panel, we see no sections related to the header. At the bottom, we see Portfolio Properties. But if we click anywhere in this header, we get a new section that appears called Header Properties. We'll start by setting the background color here at the bottom. We can pick a dark blue color, and then we can adjust the transparency, lighter or darker, and we'll adjust this all the way to 100% to get the rich blue color. We can change this from a solid fill to a linear gradient or a radial gradient, but we'll leave this as a solid color for now. The header consists typically of text and possibly graphics, so the choices here reflect that. Simple text, image only, text and image, or custom layout. We'll choose text and image, and we can double click here to add some text. We can call this Central Florida Ornithology. We'll change the font on the bottom section to use a script font, and we'll make the size 48 points. Then we'll highlight the top text, and we'll change the font size to 28. Finally, we'll highlight all the text and change the text color from black to white. Then we can click over here and we can choose an image. We'll click here to choose the image, and in this case we'll go to the working files in the Chapter 8 folder, and we'll look in the folder called Resources. We'll pick the CFO header heron.jpg file, and we click it, and there it is. Now we'll want to resize this image a little bit, so let's move the text out of the way. Resizing these images can be a little bit finicky, and you'll have to experiment to see what works best for your layout. Now with the image, as well as with the text, we have the ability to anchor it to the left, centered, or to the right. And this is to make sure that this object retains its position for different screen sizes. If we anchor to the left, the image will remain the same distance from the left margin for any screen size. We can click on the text again, and we want it to be anchored to the right. Once we've done all that, we can click Preview, and there's our header. Now notice the text is a little bit cut off, so we'll go back into Edit mode, and we can increase the size of this text box to resolve that issue. And perhaps we may even want to go in here and select the text on the top and bump it down one size to 26 points. We'll click away and go to Preview, and it looks much better. Now notice the informational section here next to the files. Some of the text is overset, and if we go back to Edit View, we can see that not only do we have overset text, but we have a text box here that's not even being used. Now we have a few choices. We can click right in here and we can make changes and edit the text ourselves. Or we can go up here to the toolbar and click the Details view at the top. In this view, we see the files in a row and column format with the visible fields showing in the view. The Summary field, which is empty, is the blank text box that we saw in the Layout view, and the display name was showing in the large text where it was partially cut off. We can change this up a little bit. We'll change the first entry to simply Herons and Egrets, and we'll give it a summary. Read about the Florida herons here. On the CFO newsletter, we'll change the display name to simply June Newsletter, and we'll leave it at that. We'll shorten this one a little bit. We can continue making changes and adding summaries. Once we have our data entered in, we can go back to Layout View, and we can see the changes reflected right away. If we go into Preview mode, we can see the updates make the display much more effective here. This portfolio is complete, and we can save this by choosing File, PDF Portfolio, and we'll save this in the working files in the folder that we've been using, and we'll call this one FinalEdit.pdf. As we've seen, we have the ability to really customize the user experience and make our PDF portfolio a truly unique, engaging, and informational experience for our readers.